G'day, Ballers, and welcome to the Sunday Snap, coming to you through the Ballr podcast feed. This is the podcast where we give our snap reactions to the NRL SuperCoach round that was. My name's Jono, coach of Hungry for More, and with me to talk about all the big news coming out of round 4 is the Sultan of Spicy Takes, the Prince of Pods, the Coach of Tubes Pods, Tubes! How are you, mate?
Jono, I'm good. I'm fired up tonight. I'm looking forward to it. There's been the feedback. I haven't come back hard enough at your energy levels.
Good start.
It may have something to do with the rank, but I thought I'd give it a go to start this week. How you going?
Mate, I'm going good. How'd the Tubes Pods go over the weekend?
Not well. It was
Sorry, that was well delivered. I'm not laughing at you.
Look, the positive, to take the positive out of it, I now know in my mind that I cannot win SuperCoach 2026. I'm out of the running. I'll battle away. I'll try for a top 2-3K finish. Maybe become a head-to-head man at some point. But I've given up on that dream, and I gave up on it about 4:30 on Saturday afternoon when the Bulldogs couldn't learn how to pass right to left to get the ball to Crichton or Kiraz. And it was just the nail in the coffin. And there's been a few more nails. Like, that was the first nail, but there's probably been 5 more this weekend. Yeah, not too bad. That's a positive.
Look, it just means you're going to get ultra aggressive. And you're always fun when you're aggressive in SuperCoach. There's no way this whole thing of I'm going to try and claw back to top 2, top 3K. There's no clawing back. You'll be going for it.
I need to start putting together some good scores. You can't be a head-to-head man and not win a head-to-head game like for most of the season. I think in our Canberra League, you've beaten me by 300 odd points this week, or certainly mid 200s. So
yeah. But
look, I think what people can take from me, although is that I'll give unbiased opinions, unlike others as part of the Ballr. And for those that do listen to the Tuesday show, I have turned up. And I'll just let you know, these little quips from Matt, the self-proclaimed head honcho, about whether or not I'll be on based on ranking and how things go. He has no say over these things. We have plenty of offers for the Sunday Snap to go to another network, and we know the snappers will follow us. So we'll just put that little rumour to bed early on.
Cheers, I'm really enjoying the energy. It's a bit of a chaotic energy you're bringing to the table, but I'm enjoying it. Let's keep that energy going as we get into our ready to explode players.
Hold on, but can we get your score and where you're going? Because you're Daddy 31 coming into this week.
Let's not make that a thing.
So we want to know where Daddy 31's, how he's gone this week.
Jono has had a 13.03 as I just looking as my last meter's dropped out. So I would say, Tubes, that's probably an above par, but not massively above par round, would you say?
I'd be shocked if you're getting red arrows up in that top 50 with the 1300 this week.
Yeah, okay.
I think pars are in the 1200s. And yeah, I haven't looked at after that Titans game. Obviously, Ho had a huge game, but I'd imagine you're heading for a nice uptick tomorrow morning.
Let's hope so. All right, Tubes, ready to explode players. These are taken from the Ballers Only Discord. We appreciate all the people who get in there to the Sunday Snap channel each week and get him in there for us. If you want to be a part of the conversation, you want to chat to Tubes, hear his unbiased opinions, hear from the other Ballr contributors, myself, Matt, Dan, C-Mac sometimes popping in, head over to ballr.live/Discord and be a part of the conversation. Tubes, our first one comes from the great snapper, Paps, and he wants to know, is Fini Fuiaki not only ready to explode, but at his price, which is now going to be probably up around the 620, 630K mark, is he still a bring-in even at that price? What are your thoughts?
Geez, I've never seen someone hit onto a hole or hit a ball as hard as Fini Fuiaki.
Like, every run he wanted to score.
Yeah.
Didn't matter where he was.
He was the epitome of a ready-to-explode player, but he was ready to explode every run on Friday night. 620K feels expensive. So he's had 91 in base plus power with the line break.
For a 99,
so that's pretty unbelievable.
Only an unbelievable Reece Walsh tackle stopped it from being a try. Like, it was a great tackle.
Yeah. I really like that. He's becoming a bit of that right edge. Like they've obviously got Herbie on the left, that right edge dominant sort of player. I think 620 is too much though. The only thing that I would say, and I warned people about it last week, but that Ezra Man edge for the Broncos is horrible, and it makes 2RFs look extremely good. And it also is a very clear attacking zone play for all teams. And so what I mean by that, his base plus player is 91 last week, and that is likely because that's where the Dolphins were continually attacking because they know that is a weak spot for the Broncos. They won't go to him that much, even though he does look very good. So I don't know, just talking about that, I think the ship sailed. He has exploded. 620 is probably a bit much.
I disagree. I think 620 is not too much. I think 620 is a fine price. My reservations on him actually aren't so much his price. I think it's actually Origin, which I'm now concerned about. Now, first of all, they got a bye in round 6. I can't believe it. Fini Filiaki, like choose. Legitimately, though, they got a bye in round 6. They then have, they got Manly next week before the bye. But after the bye, they then come back. And listen to this draw. Panthers, Warriors, Storm, Dogs, Rabbitohs, Raiders. Like, it doesn't get much, although the Raiders, who knows. But on paper, that draw is about as tough as it can get from a defensive standpoint. Obviously, his base plus power has been really good. If he doesn't play Origin, the Dolphins play every single major bye round. They play round 12, 15 and 18. So I don't think the price is wrong. If he's still around that price, even kind of sub 650, 680K come round 13 and he does round 12, he doesn't play Origin, I would be very, very interested. But I just want to wait to see what evolves there, especially with that tough draw.
Yeah, I mean, I think he plays Origin at some point in the future. He's 22 years old. I don't think he gets selected for Origin this year. So if that's your concern, then definitely look at him this week to pick up.
I just think I'm happy to wait until round 12, though. Wait for those major bye rounds, especially with him on the bye in round 6. But I wish I owned him again. I wish I owned him next week against Manly. That's for sure. So I think the price I'm okay with, but I think I'm just going to wait and see with that tough draw. Choose the other one. It's another 2RF in front row forward. This time it's Isaiah Papali'i. This one was put to us by Smelly Boef. Smelly Boef wants to know if he's still a must-have player at that price. He's going to be up even more expensive than Fini Filiaki. He's going to be around 650K IPAP. Obviously, he's coming off a big 102, 80 minutes on the weekend. I just want to know, how do you see that role moving forward? Because the left edge is hot.
It's hard to talk about the role. He played 80 minutes. What I do know is Matt brought him in and he was spruiking him to everyone in the Discord, and he kept going on about how the Ballr projections model just absolutely loves Papali'i.
Yeah.
And that was what swayed him to bring it in. He obviously did play 80 minutes, but the way Matt said the model came out was as long as he can average 65 to 70, he's
well underpriced.
Well underpriced. So I do think that you could look to still bring him in next week. The Panthers just look unbelievable. As you say, that left edge is humming. It looks in good form from my eye from an NRL perspective as well.
I don't think I'd expect 80 minutes moving forward. So I'm glad you prefaced that with what Matt was saying with the Ballr projections and that 65 to 70, because I think that's more realistic, that 60 to 70 minute role. Isaiah Yeo just got rested for nearly half a game on the weekend. Ivan Cleary, we were talking with his tubes on the phone today. Obviously, he's an incredibly good coach. His forward rotations can be a little bit unpredictable and have been for a while. He rests guys when he can. Sometimes he tries and finds young players extra minutes on certain weeks, and sometimes he can go with a hot hand. If a guy's playing well, he'll throw him extra minutes that week. So he's not like a lot of these NRL coaches who have a very deliberate and easy-to-read rotation. So I could see that sometimes being 50 minutes for IPAP, sometimes being 80, but most likely landing in that 65-ish range.
Yeah, but I mean, the good thing about IPAP as an NRL coach, but maybe even for his super coach, if he is becoming a trusted lieutenant of Cleary, he can fill the void of obviously an edge role, but also a middle role as well when injuries do strike. So, I think and having dual front row forward, second row forward, it's handy. So potentially
that's what they say.
He's certainly an option.
The last one comes in from Michael, and Michael concedes. He said that this player's probably already exploded, but he just wants to hear a bit of a chat because he feels he's flown under the radar this year from a Supercoach perspective. Dom Young, Tubes. So he has had a massive score, 108 with 3 tries on the weekend. Takes him for 6 for the year, and his average is now sitting at an 83 for the year. Really under-owned, under-discussed. Is Dom Young a guy who's on your radar?
No, not on my radar in Classic, only because that Knights, gutsy performance by the Knights, which I'm sure we'll talk about, but with all these injuries to Newcastle, I can't see myself buying a Newcastle outside back. Has flown under the radar this year, and I don't want to be one to be sitting here bragging about a random draft team in a random league, but the Ballr Pod Draft League, I do have Dom Young, and he's carried me to a victory this weekend. So very appreciated by the Tubes pods in the Ballr Draft League.
It's all coming up, Tubes. All right, let's get to Tubes. Let's get to our rage trades. Again, these are all from the Ballers Only Discord. The first one came in from a couple of people, and Tubes, you and I are both feeling a little bit ragey about this guy as well. It's Stephen Crichton. This comes in from Auspicious Calamari and Polly329. They have both said that he's on the chopping block potentially for them this week. Tubes, I just want to give you the floor here because I know you've got some strong thoughts, not just about Stephen Crichton, but about the Bulldogs attack and the involvement of one Adam O'Brien.
Jesus, you're hyping this up. Like, I don't know, now that you've set a bar that I don't know if I'm going to hit. Obviously appreciate anyone in the Discord that put this up. This is the biggest rage trade for my team this week. I was filthy yesterday afternoon. I don't know how I missed it. Adam O'Brien is the attacking coach for the Canterbury Bulldogs, and I'm sitting here going, I want to own Crichton, I want to own Kiraz, I want to own all these people for the Bulldogs. I think that they're looking good. Things just haven't clicked yet, but it will click. It won't click. Adam O'Brien, Aidan O'Brien, whoever, AOB. This is what it felt like with the Knights last year, where you're just going, hold on, Ponga's good. Like he's a good player. Like these players aren't. Why do they look so terrible? And it's the same thing with the Dogs here. Like one thing that I think we can agree on as a society, if anything, is that Stephen Crichton is not a 5'8". Like, that's one thing that you can see by watching an NRL game.
Yep.
And why they put him at 5'8"? Now, and the reason is because their attacking structure looks so terrible that Serrato's just having to try different things in the game to try to get things going. I really didn't like what I saw from the Dogs. I feel like they have to make changes. The first change could be getting a new attacking coach. The second change might be looking to move Burton to left centre, maybe Crichton back to the right, and bring in another halfback, whether that has to be Sean O'Sullivan, and move Galvin to 5'8". But all of that, none of that spells, really good Supercoach output for Stephen Crichton, and too much uncertainty.
Look, Tubes, I'm going to go with the positives. This 5'8" thing, which, by the way, I completely agree. Stephen Crichton is a great footballer. He is not a 5'8". Like, he looks so uncomfortable. Great
footballer.
He looks so uncomfortable coming in to play that role. And he didn't play for the whole, 30 minutes. Him and Burton was switching around, which probably makes it even more confusing. Like, no certainty at all in what they were doing. But the positives, the Dogs clearly value him and want to get him involved in the football game. We've seen him going to the right edge. We've seen him having set plays off scrums. The negatives is they just have no idea how to use him correctly. Because to use him correctly, just give the man early ball and get him one-on-one, and he'll beat his centre and he'll set up his man outside so often. But it's just not happening. I'm going to give him one more week, Tubes. I'm going to see how it looks next week. And then if it's still not working, I'm going to look to flip him to Mark Nwangani Tuase in round 6. Roosters on the bye next week. But if I was in your situation, Tubes, I know that you don't own Latrell Mitchell and you really wanted to find a way to get him into your team, and you're looking at Critter as that way.
Yeah, I mean, I might be. It's a rage trade, and I was moving him out to Trell. The problem when your team's no good is you've got too many holes to fix, and he might not be the biggest one. Like, Walsh is on the radar. I don't know Cleary. I think they're both coming in for me next week. So I don't think a straight swap Critter to Trell is necessarily on my radar.
Yep.
But I do think if you have that capability, I don't feel good about Stephen Crichton anymore. It was a bad day. They were 13-point favourites against the Knights
I know
on Saturday afternoon.
You're expecting big things owning Critter in that game. Like, it's a perfect matchup.
You're not expecting a 36, that's for sure, and them scoring only 3 very lucky tries.
Well, let's get on to the next rage trade, and it's another one who people are feeling rightfully very ragey about. This one comes in from Chucky G and Gramsy. It is Big Bad Brian To'o, who had a 21 on the weekend. The right edge tube just being left out in the cold.
Jesus. I didn't realise he had 21. I just wasn't looking at it as strongly. We talked about him last week as well. People were thinking about rage. Was he a rage trade last week, or was he just a part of the analysis of the discussion? Maybe
last week or the week before even. He's been there.
That has to be one of the lowest Brian bases. Does he lose the nickname Big Bad Brian now with this base?
I think Gramsci called him Big Bland Brian. Which is not bad. Tubes, I want you to unpack your theory from last week that you put forward, because I quite like it around his base.
Oh, it was so last week we discussed that obviously he had a lot of injuries last year, and he sort of battled his way through it. And I think part of the appeal of him for this year was how healthy he looked and how good he looked. But similar with what we talked about with the forward rotations with Cleary, I do value the Penrith organisation, and they probably put a fair bit into both their coaching but also their analytics and I would imagine their sports science. And it just feels like Toto has taken a big step back this year in the amount of base and the amount of work he's doing coming out of his own end. They've got Casey McLean doing that. They've got Milky doing that. They've obviously got Alamotti. And then Dylan Edwards is just king of it.
He's a baseman.
Yeah, so I just feel like there's a possibility that this is a planned move, like to keep Big Bad Brian a bit more fresh for the back end of the season, where I have no doubt that he will do it as they get towards the back end and into the finals. But just at this time, it just feels like he's saved for more those attacking outputs, like the try we saw last week.
Mm-hmm.
But he's on the right, and the right edge is catching a cold with how hot that left edge is, as you put it.
So you would have him, Tubes. He's going to be around 560, 570K. Trade? Cut your losses? Yeah, I agree. The last one comes in from the great Aman, from Aman Talk Supercoach, and his rage trade is Reed Marnie. Tubes, Reed Marnie has had a 19 on the weekend in 62 minutes. He just looks bad.
Tell you what, bringing up Aman made me do a bit of a hair check. It's not looking anywhere near as good as the great Aman. But
no one does.
Yeah, unfortunately, Aman, for you and others, it is 100% time to go if you have not sold already. Hopefully the cheese gets named this week, and hopefully that's a nice, easy downgrade for you. He played 62 minutes. He did not look good again. And the Cowboys scored 3 tries and came back down from 10 against the Melbourne Storm once he left the field. Nothing's pointing in the right direction for Reed Marnie.
And Sonny Luke actually came on and played well.
Yeah.
So, it spells even less minutes for Reed moving forward. I don't think that's a rage trade. I think it's just a really good trade. And hopefully, like you said, hopefully the cheese, even if he's not named next week, I just trade him down to the cheese anyway.
Like you can be feeling angry when you press that trade button.
Oh yeah.
But yeah,
you would be.
Yeah.
All right, Tubes, let's get into actual round review now. Starting off with the Seagulls versus the Roosters. I want to start off, Tubes, by doing a player comparison using the player comparison tool over at Ballr.live to look at Robert Toya, aka Bobby T, and Mark Nwangini Tuase, who I think come round 6 are going to be very popular trade-ins. Bobby T, 122 points. Marky 111. Great games from both those guys, Tubes. I want to know when it moves forward into round 6, which one are you going to make a priority? Or is it a poco no les dos, old El Paso Taco Girl situation? Why not both?
You could do both. I think I really like the look of Toya this year. I think we had a bit of an argument in the preseason with Cracker about it. You thought it was a foregone conclusion that he kicks on from last year, and I was like, well, sometimes they regress from a rookie season. And geez, I was just we can put that up on your side of the column of being right versus me in the preseason there, Jono, because he looks unbelievable. Like he looks like he's gone to another level. He could be one of the more focal points of their attack on that right-hand edge, and that spells good for him from a SuperCoach point of view from the centres. It probably also spells, says that it's a good buy as marky mark as well. So the Roosters aren't fully clicking. I don't know if I would love to own both of them. Plus, I think Teddy's going to be a big option. So you'd be going all in on all three. But maybe if you weren't going to be getting Teddy and you wanted to go the double, that could be an option. But looking at them on Ballr.live, I do have Bobby Toyer as the up and comer over Marky Mark.
See, I'm probably the other way. I think I like Marky Mark just for the try scoring ability, and he can just go on these massive runs. When Marky Mark's up and about, their draw coming up. Obviously, we mentioned the bye. They then come back with Sharks, Knights, Dragons, Broncos, Titans, Cowboys. And obviously that same draw applies to Bobby T. So he could just as well go do the same thing. But I think I'm leaning towards the big try scorer sitting on the edge. I don't think he can go wrong either way. And I definitely think there's a case to try and get both. But like you said, easier said than done. Tubes, you mentioned James Tedesco. He's only had a 46. He's now going to be losing 70K, dropping down to around 750K. I am still going to bring him in round 6. I think we've got enough history with Teddy to suggest that even if he does have this little kind of a down spell, he bounces back every single time. But, he's aging. The Roosters, like you said, aren't clicking, and their playmaking's not looking very, very streamlined. Do you have any concerns about Teddy?
No, I don't have any concerns. It was a very wet night, and people like Toya went off. So I think that Teddy will still end up being a top 3 or 4 fullback. You just talked about the run. I think that he is an option. It really comes down to how well your team is set up, that you can afford to be doing sort of the, fullback flipping strategy, both from a trades point of view, but also just not needing trades to fix up other areas of your team. I think he's a perfect one for you, Jono, where you're ranked and how well your team's currently set up to look at targeting in around 6 and sort of flipping through those fullbacks. But yeah, I don't know. I think he looks fine. He looks good, and that run sounds amazing.
Yeah, and also unlikely to play Origin too without a Dylan Edwards injury.
Won't. I don't think even if Edwards got injured, they go to him.
You mean Tommy?
Again, Tommy, or I don't know, but I haven't really thought much about it. I think Tedesco's Origin days are just are done. That's all.
Chiefs, last couple, just talk about the Roosters. Couple of back rowers, or one of them's a duel. Connor Watson, who had an 85, he ended up playing 66 minutes all in the middle due to an Egan concussion, 69 in base plus power. And Siwa Wong, Tubes, he's had 80 in base plus power on the weekend. In round 1, he only played 30 minutes off the bench, but in his starting games, 3 of them now, he's averaging 66.7. A try contribution is his only attacking stat. Could he be a good pod option with that run coming up?
I think for sure, especially we talked about Finney Fuiaki earlier. Like Siwa could match him. There's nothing better for a back rower that runs a good line than having a very great centre and winger outside him as well. So when they do hit you, they're not marking you as much, or there's distractions out the back. The only thing that worries me about him is obviously Victor Radley comes back.
Good call.
What does that mean? Obviously, Egan Butcher went off with a HIA this week. I just think that Roosters pack is pretty stacked, and the minutes could easily drop for Wong. But if he kept playing 80 minutes, even with Radley back, then he's a definite option for sure. I'd rather own him than Angus Crichton right now, that's for sure. And
choose one thing you mentioned, like obviously Wong on that right edge, but also Cherry. Like I know DC is copping rightfully a lot of criticism from people. He did he made Olakawadu have a lot of space for a few years there at the Seagulls. There's no saying he can't elevate Siawong to the same level. So, go on.
Just one more thing on the Roosters, and we don't need a Ballr picture for this because it's just a community announcement. Any other Sam Walker owners?
I left him off the run sheet for you, Tubes. I left him out. No, I was trying to give you a break.
It's time to sell, boys. I thought this was going to be the week, and all it showed me is no, they're not going his way. And why should they? Like, this right side looks just unbelievable for the Roosters. This is their attacking side, and Sam Walker's never sweeping to the right because, if anything, he gets in the way when he comes across to the right. So, it's a big sell button if you've been silly like me to hold on in hope for this long.
It's tough when you hear that run because, I just know what's going to happen here, Tubes. Second you sell. He's going on a run, mate.
It's all right. It's a mental. I can't win it now, Jono. I've come to terms. Can't win it. Time to sell for my mental health.
Let's get on to the Seagulls. Tommy Turbo, Tubes. He obviously had 2 tries for a 76. I saw a lot of people in the Ballers Only Discord kind of worried about Tommy Turbo, and a lot of that became, 2 tries for 76. You hear Tommy scored 2 tries, you want 100 plus, but a lot of people concerned about Manly's form. I think the new coach helps. That usually does give a little bit of a bump for the effort of the players. And from all reports, they hated Seabold and hated playing for him. Chiefs, Tommy Turbo's coming into my team next week. So that says my opinion. You're an owner, which means you've been watching him very carefully. What do you think?
I think he looks great. I can't see that Foran coming in both as a new coach but also just as a offensive mind can be bad for Turbo. I can't see how he gets less ball. And I think the big thing with Turbo is he looks fully fit. And they have not been good at all, Manly. So I think only things go up. I know he scored 2 tries, but he sort of had to score 2 tries just to keep them in it. When they get a bit more on a roll, when they start playing better footy, I think we're going to see big things from Turbo, and I will be holding for sure.
The other one from Seagulls, Taniela Paseka, who had a 44. Obviously not a disaster score. He still played 58 minutes. I think the big frustration around Taniela this week, Tubes, I think it was the first time ever halfway through a game someone posted in a rage trade player about Taniela Paseka. But I think the frustrating thing is we had to play him this week because of all these suspensions, all these injuries. People had to play Paseka this week who owned him, and that's just not the score you want when that happened. I did like Danny Boy's theory that he put forward in our WhatsApp group, was there might have been just a little bit of illness with Paseka because he only had 6 runs and the trainers were constantly with him behind play, but he had no injury to speak of. He wasn't limping. There was nothing they were checking. They were just with him. So I wonder if he was battling a flu or some kind of illness and just played through it because they got no one.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's it. He's a fine hold, front row forward 3 or 4. Kick in the guts if you played him and then you sat ho. But yeah, you move on.
You move on. All right, and we will too. On to the next game. Warriors versus the Tigers. What a big upset. A bit of a sign of a couple of upsets to come, really, over the course of the weekend. And Adam Doueihi, 112 points, 2 assists that just directly came from his running game. Just taking on guys, stepping inside, drawing the fullback, passing. He looked fantastic. Also, Benji said post-game that his injury may be more groin-related than hammy, and it did obviously impact him a little bit because he didn't goal kick. What are you making of Doueihi?
Looked great. Good to see him play well. Good to see the Tigers win in that game. I wouldn't be selling him. And I know a lot of people jumped off, like Matt on the weekend, to go to a Cleary, which obviously you're not feeling too bad about. But I can't see that he's a buy now. Losing that kicking, little bit of an injury, going up 90K this week. You can't be buying him. But I wish I had started with him, and I'd love to be sitting around owning him, heading towards 700K over the next few weeks.
Yeah, he looks really good. The other one who looks really good is Alex Twal. Now, Tubes, confession here. Matt wanted to talk about Alex Twal on our Tuesday show, and I said, Matt, we're not wasting our time. We've got too many people on the spreadsheet to talk about Alex Twal. Yet I kept Curtis Moran on the spreadsheet. Alex Twal's come out and busted out a 97 in 70 minutes. No injury impact in that Tigers forward pack. That was just the minutes that Benji gave him. He had a line assist. He had 90 in base plus power. What's going on with Twal this year?
Has he not always just been a really good worker? He just never gets this many minutes. Like, is it just a role dependent thing? Like, I'm sure that 90 in base plus power is not a standard, but
No.
he's always been a great worker. I just don't think he's ever got this many minutes. He must have done something that he's won Benji's approval. Or is it like they've obviously had a very big preseason? Maybe not Terrell May, but everyone else has come in like so fit and firing. And Terrell looks great too. Don't get me wrong. From a football point of view,
He doesn't look as fit as normal.
He doesn't look as fit as he did last year, and I think that's possibly why they're bringing him in more slowly than his 80-minute roles last year. But yeah, I honestly, the last 8 years of history suggests otherwise. But geez, Twal just looks like a big option. But really, last week was the week, wasn't it? Like the week you didn't want to talk about him if you were going to bring him in. That was the week to Ford, Papali, and Twal were the sort of three options.
Well, he's still going to be 540k. Like I agree. I still think that over time that May will get those minutes back. I think May, like obviously no offense to Twal, he's a good footy player, but May is a more impactful footy player in my opinion. Tubes, he was getting around 55 to 60-ish minutes last year. I looked into where this is coming from. He's getting more power stats than usual. He's busting a few tackles and he's offloading. They have not traditionally been big parts of his game at all. It's generally been all base. So he's getting a few more power stats.
Okay, I thought he might have been one of those big third man in guys though as well.
That's like, probably a good call too.
The Hindmarsh tackle and tacklebot style. So possibly getting the double bump minutes. Bit more power and some more tackles or recorded tackles with the new stats.
That's a really good point because he does seem like that kind of guy. But look, yeah, 540k. The jewel is handy. I don't know. We'll have to see. It's not going to be for me. I've made my bed with Jackson Ford, who we'll get to in the same game. I'm going to line it now. But well done to anyone who did jump on Alex Twal. Kai Pearce-Paul, Poo. He's had a 90 choose with a try, a non-line break try, another big base plus power game. He does look like he's finally consistently shown that potential that you and I, Tubes, talked about all year last year on the Sunday Snap. We love him.
Yeah, big RTE, always been an RTE, and he's finally exploding at the new club. Like, great to see. Yeah, another Tiger I'd love to own, but and I don't have the room, but to the trades really to bring him in over the next couple of weeks, but. I think he's a great option in that back row, second row position. He's obviously got the roll down pat. Adam Doueihi's going to be the dominant half on that right-hand side, and that's only going to be good things for KPP, and he's clearly got a bit more permission to offload and play his natural style of game. So what's he going to be, 650K? I think that, in fact, I don't want to bring everything back to Fini Fuiaki, but put those two in the Ballr player comparison tool, and I'd much rather be taking KPP over Finney.
Interesting. All right, well, let's talk about the Tigers' cheapies. Luke Laulili and the Mack truck, Makasini. He has actually not made as much money as Luke Laulili in their first price rise. So Laulili's going up 90K, Makasini's going up 60K. Makasini, Tubes, are like easily his most poor NRL game. He had 5 missed tackles, he had 4 errors. I don't know if you watched this one carefully. Every time he took a hit up, James Fisher-Harris was just smashing him, rubbing him into the ground. It was like a real, you mentioned it, Jack Whiten doing it to him. He kind of called it a welcome to NRL moment. Fisher-Harris took that to a new level this week, and it rattled him a little bit.
Do you reckon he didn't like Fisher-Harris, similar age to us, probably a big Jonah Lomu rugby guy, bit of a New Zealand cold hero. Probably didn't like the comparisons of Makasini to Jonah Lomu.
You reckon it's Matt? So you reckon it's Matt's fault? Because Matt was the one who called him Jonah Lomu.
No, he was, but others have done it. And even Makasini sort of has embraced the Lomu comparisons. And I think that's got Big Fish off big time. And he's taken it to heart and shown him. But yeah, look, it was always going to be a tough game for Makasini Friday night against the Warriors. I don't think lose heart, and I think he'll be back into my 18 next week. I think they have the Cowboys, or no, they got the Eels on Monday afternoon. So look for a big bounce back from Makasini.
So it's not impacting your ability to play him. You still feel good enough if the matchup's right.
100%. I
Good.
think.
I'm the same. On to the Warriors. Tanner Boyd. He got 84. The Boyd leaders up in arms again. He's now going to go up to 750K, 2 assists. I got to say though, Chibs, the partnership with Metcalf didn't look great in the first game, and that was more Metcalf's fault than Tanner.
Yeah, big one was the retained goal kicking though as well. So just the Tanner boys just keep going for another week.
Jackson Ford, you and I both traded, Tubes. We did it. He played 68 minutes for 60 points. We both brought him in. He wasn't going to come to our teams, and Webster had this quote around minutes and just saying like, with Mitchie Barnett coming back, he's not going to be mopping up minutes off Jackson Ford. Jackson Ford's biggest weapon is his stamina, and we're going to continue to embrace that. That's not word for word, but that was the essence of it. And we saw that with 68 minutes. Unfortunately, this week, he only had 2 points from power stats, and he made 2 errors. And when that kind of thing happens, a 60 is kind of going to be where it lands for Jackson Ford.
60 is a pretty good floor.
Exactly.
I think you want to bring in people and they get 100 like Papali'i, but the main thing I think as a long-term holder is that role. Still nice of him to make 54K, but getting 68 minutes. If you brought him in this week and you're feeling a little bit burnt, don't. I'd be holding him. He seems, if he keeps playing 68 minutes, he's a great front row forward 2 option.
Let's just hope that the couple of errors doesn't change Webster's mind around the minutes, but I don't think it will after a big quote like that.
It was 2 real bad errors, but still only 2 errors. Hopefully Webster moves on.
Last one, Tubes, out of the wires is Tane Tuapiki, who I want to mention as a pod. So what's happening is Charles Nickel-Klokstad's come back and he's played centre. Ali Leotaro has been dropped to New South Wales Cup, and Tuapiki's got the fullback role. He's in 0.8% of teams. He's got a break even of 38 coming into next week. What do you think of Tane Tuapiki, Tubes? Is he a little pod that interests you at around 520K?
I don't think he does, but I haven't put much. I tried to pick him up on the waivers in draft, and Matt, he's a big draft waiver guy this week if people didn't get him, but Matt had already got him, of course. But I think in classic,
he's dual though. See, like you get him.
We'll see how it plays out over the next couple of weeks. Like I wouldn't be jumping on now.
Yeah.
I just think that he doesn't have. I'm seeing here that he had 38 in base plus power on the weekend, but I don't think he has the best floor. I don't know.
You need to sit on it.
I need to put more. I need to sit on that. But I could be by Tuesday. He could be in my team, like as in downgrade from Crichton to Tuapiki.
I did a little bit of a dive into it, Tubes, over the weekend. So he averages 60 in his career at fullback. He's only played 13 games there that were 70 minutes or more. 3 of those were like 4 years ago, and the scores were putrid. If you took those 3 out, the average bumps up to, I think, around 68 to 70 in his career at fullback. They do have Sharks and the Storm in their next 2 games, but then their draw, the Wires, really opens up. Titans, Dolphins, Eels, Broncos, Dragons. They also do play round 12 and round 15, the 2 major bye rounds, and 13, 16 and 19, the mini bye rounds. So he could be a guy over that period at dual. You're getting a fullback at centre wing. I'm very interested. I'm going to take a look at him.
Yeah, I mean, it all sounds appealing. Very Connor Tracy-esque of last year, it feels like. Could be
that didn't work out well.
Guy.
That didn't work out well.
It didn't. We'll see.
All right, next game, Broncos versus the Dolphins. And Tubes, less SuperCoach plays to talk about in this one, but Katoni Staggs had a 98, 2 tries, 58 points in base plus power. Back-to-back big games. We've spoken earlier, Tubes, in previous pods about the Broncos' nice run coming up. Another potential centre wing pod. He's only in 3% of teams. Yeah,
I think he's one that you need to go on a run. He's not an end-of-season keeper. Typically, you don't want to be buying someone at 600K that you don't think you can hold for the rest of the season. But he could go bang over these next few weeks. Obviously, Reece Walsh factor. He's their main attacking weapon on that right-hand side. But I won't be going near him, that's for sure.
Speaking of Reece Walsh, he had a 92 with a try and a try assist. Chibs, you're a non-owner. You said you're looking at him for next week. So you still feel he's worth that big price tag in a team where Reynolds looks to be running the show, where he's not goal kicking? You still feel confident he's a really good bring-in?
He's too scary as a non-owner. Like, I know that he's possibly he's definitely taken a step back to the Reece ball of last year, and Reynolds back in the team running the show a bit more. They're negatives against him, but when he's on, he's just on. And that playing at Suncorp, playing so many games at Suncorp, and particularly just getting those fixtures that he has coming up, like, he's just too scary of a non-own. He's and I haven't looked at the next few rounds, but often we know the Broncos get those Thursday, Friday night games. So he's just such a good VC option. Like, he could easily go bang for a 200 one week and you don't own him. And everyone else is looping him that do own him. So I think he's worth the price of admission. I think for those that can, going up from like a Keanu Kinney just feels free this week.
All right. From the Dolphins, Herbie Farnworth, Tubes. For the 60% of Supercoaches who don't own, he kind of hasn't really killed him yet. He had, again, another game, no major attacking stats, 82 points, all from base plus power. Scary matchup next week against the Seagulls. But then we mentioned this with Dole Fini-Filiaki. They got then 2 buys in the next kind of 7-8 weeks and some really hard defensive teams in between. Does he just stay as an avoid now? If you don't own him now, you just got to kind of ride it out a bit longer?
Yeah, another very scary one to not own, particularly next week. But I can't. He's a very tough one. I like all those that started with him. Whilst disappointed that you haven't had a huge score, you're just so happy owning him because he just looks so good every time he touches the ball, and he's so electric that. But I think if you don't own him now, it's just too hard to get him in, especially with that run, as you said, coming up. Like, apart from Manly, it then goes Panthers, Warriors, Storm, Dogs. So, like, yeah, if you're ever going to get Herbie beat, it has to be in those 4 games. And when I say getting beat, I mean
hold him to 80.
Hold him to 70 to 80. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and just hope he doesn't get attacking stats like he hasn't all year. The last one, Chiefs from the Finns, is Tom Flegler. Just nice he's got big ownership, came out, got a 50 on the weekend, his comeback game. Nice for those who held. Choose the Dogs versus the Knights. I don't want to make you have to relive this one too much, so we'll be quick. But Fletcher Sharp, poor fella, he got an assist for his 51 points. Just didn't look great all game. Knee looks to have gone again. And, yeah, for those people who patiently held for a couple of weeks, it now looks like he's going to have to be a sell, unfortunately. So that just absolutely sucks.
I don't think he's a sell. I mean, we'll find out. But
was the reports were they?
Well, I haven't seen any reports other than what NRL Fizz said, and I'm sure he'll cover it on the Sponge. But he's saying that that's just normal. Like PCL,
okay,
like you get a knock, it's going to hurt like hell. But it doesn't mean that he's redone it or anything like that. It's just that that's why it's so troublesome that it's a pain management thing. If he gets named again to play next week, it's sort of like I owned Reece Walsh this time last year and he had the same thing happening each and every week. And it is frustrating, but I just don't know if you're going down grading Fletcher Sharp. You're just hoping that you can grind through the next few weeks. And then when he comes back, he's the best 5'8" and everyone wants to get him in.
Which they will, once he's fit and firing. Like, he'll be the most owned 5'8" probably by the end of the year amongst the serious players. Tubes, finally, a big win for the Tubes pods. Dylan Lucas, 85 points, try, 74 points in base plus power, and he did it all in 70 minutes thanks to a little cheeky sin bit.
Yeah, 74 base plus power with a try. He must have turned up. Oh, no, wait, he got sin binned for deciding to tackle somebody that caught it in goals. That makes sense. But, yeah, people make mistakes. I forgive Dylan. I forgived him when he went over and scored that try. Yeah. But so break even of 73 next week, 700 odd K roughly, just under 700K. Yeah,
720-ish.
Great target for those non-owners for you guys to get him at a discount.
Another one of yours, Tubes, Jacob Kiddaz. You would have watched him very closely after last week where he had the bung shoulder. How'd he look?
Looked fine. Offload was back. Had 5. I've got the stats in front of me, thanks to you. But he was offloading at will. He was back to his get the ball out and doing those up over the top. Obviously had one that was for the try. I'd say he's carrying that shoulder thing, and they talked about it a bit in during the week that he might be needling up and different things like that. But it sounds like it can be managed. And yeah, I mean, he's another one that I'm just hoping the Bulldogs can figure out their attack. Burton to centre might work better for him, might get more ball, because yeah, he's got great base plus power and obviously can sniff out a try.
Jacob Preston, Tubes, he's only had a 42. He had no attack, and most of his points actually came from tackles this week. I believe he hyperextended his knee in the first half and didn't look great, but he obviously played through the 80, which is promising for his owners that it's nothing too serious. Hopefully just hurt in the moment, and he's back and firing next week for them. Any other thoughts on that? No? Didn't
look good, no. I'm a bit worried about Preston. I hope he gets through. I hope he's named next week. Big game against the Bunnies. But yeah, we'll see. And I don't want to keep going over it, but I just think the Bulldogs, it's a big week for the Bulldogs coming into this Good Friday game. It could be their biggest ever Good Friday game for a long time.
It's going to be a fiery
something for the Dogs. Yeah,
it's going to be a great game. Choose Panthers versus Eels. Just want to point out that the Eels are 0-2 in there. The Eels are going to be so up for this games this year after the one against the Storm as well. Nathan Cleary, just ball on a string. That kick he did with his left foot that bounced off the post for a try assist was just absolutely incredible. If you're a rugby league nerd, that's the kind of stuff that gets you up and about.
What about how was it Ennis? He was trying to call it like lucky. Got a bit of luck there. It's like, when have you ever seen Nathan Cleary kick it high into the air like that? Like, he was definitely aiming for it with his left foot. Like, it was so good. I loved being a non-owner of Nathan Cleary in that first half, I can tell you. But even then, I still respected and enjoyed it. Like, it was a bit of like I loved them going up to the Eels, going, it's great to see him still putting in effort and all of that, and they're just getting absolutely demolished by the Panthers.
Well, he had 117 Tubes. Another kind of example of him this year, it's happening a little bit where, like, he just takes the foot off the throat. He's kind of in that, he plays through, but he just kind of does what he has to and lets the other guys around him shine. But, yeah, he just looks unbelievable. It still just feels like a big breakout score for him has to come at some stage.
You'd think so. It feels like non-owners got away with 117, which you don't say too often. One of the people that he's letting shine, Jono, I'm just going to flick over, is Milky Million. People laughed. People laughed at Dan when he said they were going to go to 1 million points. But Thomas Jenkins had another 2 tries and an assist. But listen to this, 48 in base plus power from the Milkman. He absolutely exploded on Saturday night, and it's just unbelievable. Like 122 points, going up 80k, break even of 2 next week. Like how do they stop him?
The Milky Mill is absolutely on the cards. 10 tries in 4 games.
Yeah. So what's he going to be? 780k next week with a break even of 2. So yeah, well done to owners of Milky Jenkins, like. And Casey McLean, like.
Yeah, Casey McLean, that left will basically choose. We've that left edge. So Jenkins, McLean, and IPAP all went 100 plus. Like it's just that left edge is the best place in rugby league to be at the moment. Casey McLean has had inconsistent scoring this year, as good as that left edge has looked like. Obviously, 112 this week. His price isn't too bad. His price is going to be around kind of 650k ish. But he has had a game where he had a 38 with a try, and he did have a game where he had 49 with an assist. So I don't know if I could get myself around Casey McLean. Not at the price.
Yeah, no, and I do think that left edge is good, but it could be IPAP, it could be Blaze, and it can be Casey. But no matter what, it's always the milk. So yeah,
the milkman always delivers. Tubes, Isaiah Yeo just really sucks for his owners this week. I feel sorry for him. He had 76 with a try. He was on track for a monster score. He plays 45 minutes and just rests the rest of the game. So that sucks for them. On to the Eels, Tubes. What about Jonah Pezzett? So he's at 52, got a little bit of junk late. So he's now got it done for the Sharp owners while they were waiting for Fletch. He's covered them, and now for the ones who own Cody, he's come out and just covered them with a nice little 50 points as well. Just keeps getting the attack.
Yeah, nice little try assist at the end of the game once the game was done. What was that? That was a very junky try, but yeah, gets it done for owners. And nice little price rise of 70K, break even of 15. So in a
position like that's been terrible. It's been a win. Yeah.
Big win.
Tubes, I know you want to talk about Joash Papali'i. Talk us through him.
Well, I just think if you're looking for that downgrade option, I think he's available in 5'8". I think we're going to hear early this week that Iongi is going to be out with syndesmosis for the next 1 to 2 months. And I think that they turn to Joash Papali'i. From what I've seen of him, he looks like a potential attacking gun. I don't know about his defense, and he's played a lot of 5'8" for the Eels, but I think he's an out-and-out fullback. So just a very, very low price 5'8" option, potentially could be one that actually explodes. So, and it might not be worth a trade, but him and Jonah Pezzett are going to be very similar price next week. In fact, it might be even a downgrade. And I just feel like at fullback, Papali'i, he could be one of those ones that just comes out and goes bang and gets 100 or a couple of hundred over the next couple of rounds, and could be in for some big price rises.
I like it. I think it's a really interesting pod. Break even to 93 coming into next week or thereabouts. So definitely you can watch for a week and see what the role looks like. But yeah, if we hear that Yongi's out for 8 weeks, I think Papali'i becomes very, very interesting. Let's get down to the Cowboys versus the Storm, Tubes. And this was another big upset here with the Cowboys getting it done. You mentioned your man Reid Marnie coming off and Cowboys completely changing their fortunes. But Scotty Drinkwater just looks back. He's backing up. He's 96 last week with a 93. He had 3 assists. And really importantly, Clifford was kicking him terribly. Drinky got the goal kicking back at the end of the game.
Well, they gave it was the kick to win it, wasn't it? It was the kick. It was an important kick that they had to get. Maybe it was to put him out to 6. I can't remember. But yeah, they went back from Clifford to Drinky for that specific kick. So yeah, well done to Scotty Drinkwater owners. Like he did look good and he got it done in the very hard matchup against the Storm.
What about Helam Lukey, Tubes? I know when he crossed for his try, he said we just can't get Lukey beat.
Yeah, it's funny when you look back and you see now that he had 50-90 base plus power. I know that did he get a couple of tackle breaks maybe in that? It just felt like he was not doing that well before that try. So he's had 78 with a try with a line break. So that play in and of itself was probably worth 29, 30 points, I suppose. So, yeah, it just keeps getting it done. It was a great try, but I thought it wasn't one of his better games. But, owners don't care. He's busted 78, going up 40K with a break-even of 24 next week. Yeah,
it was a weird game because I wasn't enjoying watching him at all. Like, it looked like he was just not in for a good night. His runs were a little bit lethargic. He just made a bunch of tackles. I think he made like 40 tackles, Tubes. So that's where he gets a lot of that base plus power comes from. Right there. Jackson Purdue, just another one who just keeps getting it done. That's a bit of a theme of the last few players in the pod. He's had a try assist to get 6-7 points. The thing I like about Purdue is that they are really looking to him and giving him early ball and just hoping he creates something. And with his freakish ability, he does a lot of the time.
Yeah, it probably wasn't. I thought they did well of shutting him down as well. I know he had that line break and he had a try assist, but it felt like they were giving him plenty of opportunity, which is what you want to see. And the Storm were doing a good job of shutting him down. But I think they've got a really nice matchup next week, don't they? Yeah, they play the Dragons on Saturday afternoon at Cogra. So, I think the Purdue owners, they go again, basically, next week.
Yeah, fire up again. On to the Storm players. Will Warbrick, 135, 4 tries. I just want to say a massive well done to the 14.5% of supercoaches who took a flyer on Warbrick at the start of the year. He has now, Tubes, he started for about 420K. He's going up nearly 100K this week. So he's made him about 140K, scoring well, break even to 6. Well done.
It's a great pod. And we'll talk about. There's only one pod that I think that has been nailed better than Will Warbrick in the centres around that similar price range. But well done to owners.
Jerome Hughes, we spoke about him a bit on our Tuesday show about how good he looks, and the right edge is just doing awesome things at the moment. He had a huge first half. Didn't really do too much in the second half when the momentum swung for the Cowboys, but he's kind of a sneaky under the radar halfback option, isn't he?
Yeah. I captained Su'a in this game, so this was the closest I'd probably watched that combination. And like Hughes looks great, was throwing some nice balls to Chan, but I think Su'a also just opens up a lot for Hughes because of how quick he is. Sometimes Su'a's standing behind or even to the left of Hughes when the play starts. The ball gets swung out and to the first receiver and then out the back to Hughes, and Su'a just absolutely pings every time and then gets out the back of his man. And Hughes is just giving it to him on a platter. Now, the Cowboys defended it fairly well. Obviously scored Su'a. But I just think that they're going to have, and they already have, they're going to have games where they just absolutely belt teams. And I think that it's going to be Hughes could be the number 2 halfback options. They've got a bit of a run coming up where they go Panthers, Warriors, Raiders. But then after that, they play Bunnies, Dolphins, Tigers, Eels. It's a pretty juicy little sort of run. And you could be looking at a Jerome Hughes as sort of that halfback. Obviously won't play Origin. Just one to, I think he'll be a very popular pick come that round sort of 8-9.
You mentioned Tubes, Su'a 95 points with a try. His tackle busts are just the thing that's just going to keep elevating his floor and making him very difficult to get beat for the people who don't own him. Because it's that speed. Again, like the speed is power. And the fact that he can just wrong foot defenders, they get an arm on him, there's a tackle bust. You watching him as close as you did, said you thought in the second half he might have had a minor knee issue going on. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, I thought in the first half even. So he had a few... I mean, it's silly to say because of how quick and dynamic he looked. But there was a few times where he was getting up and he was sort of stretching at this knee, like he was almost just sort of touching it but looking at it a little bit gingery. And then he came out at halftime and had his knee freshly strapped on his right side and then had a few more ginger moments. I don't know how closely you watched, but there was one where he almost like fell over before the attacking line. And I think that his knee just went on him. So I don't think I can't imagine that he would have played out if it was problematic, but it certainly will be one to watch over the next couple of weeks. But yeah, certainly for me, this game solidified that I want to keep Su'a in my side for the foreseeable future, even with that tougher matchups coming up. Yeah,
the break-even's starting to get there now. It's up to a 72, so we'll see how that progresses. But yeah, he does look so good. It is hard to make any kind of a case to trade him even at that price. Harry Grant, Tubes, 73. It's pretty funny with his goal kicking. He's not a good goal kicker. I only got him 2 points because he missed 3 kicks this week. But fantastic try assist. Another one, Tubes, that you've had all year who's been a great pickup for you is Stefano Udikamanu. He played his 55 minutes for 48 points, just lacked the usual output. What do you make of him? He was seen hobbling up to the sheds at one point. Do you think it was an injury thing? Do you think it was the heat of North Queensland? Maybe a bit of both. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I'm going to put it down to something to do with the injury, like the fact that he was hobbling up towards the shed. Like he definitely wasn't as powerful in that first 15 minutes. I think the thing that's always a bit frustrating about the Cowboys is they also have a very sneaky, really solid starting forward pack as well. Like Tamalolo was out.
He's been good this year.
Yeah, and he was on a mission the other night. So he's an intimidating man. And there's the possibility that Stefano just didn't step up to the challenge. He had a big game the week before against the Broncos. He would have been right up for it. So I'll just give him a pass mark this week and hope he bounces back and is up for the massive game next Friday night against the Panthers. That's going to be so good on Good Friday.
It's going to be an absolute cracker. Between that and the Rabbitohs versus Dogs, it's going to be a great day of footy.
I'll tell you who I won't be playing on Good Friday.
Who's that?
Moses Leo.
Are you kidding? 21 points, came off for a HIA. but past it, just a weird player, isn't he, Tubes? I've been calling him Jekyll and Hyde, and yeah, he just keeps showing like you just don't know what you're going to get.
It's just he's like the anti, SuperCoach player that you want. Like he just does nothing. Sometimes he sucks you into feeling like you want to play him. Like copy to 21 this week, easy matchup, can go big, gets 95 first week, then scores that unbelievable try in the second week to save it. I just think I think people got problems, so they might not be selling him next week, but you've got to just put him on your bench and hope he makes you a bit of cash, and you just can't trust him in your 18, like basically ever again.
But I agree with that. I wouldn't sell him, especially we'll get to Sedu too and Fayamani in the last game of the round, but I wouldn't sell Leo if I owned, because he will go on a run at some point. You'll make some nice money, but I agree with you. It's just that lack of confidence of being able to play him and the fact that he could become an AE problem if you want to loop 1 week as well. Tubes, let's get on to today's footy games. The Raiders versus the Sharks. Your boys getting it done down here in Canberra. Nicho Hynes, 100 points. The thing, Tubes, like you almost had a moment of huge shock last week when I told you Nicho got 80. This week he's gone 100. And if you just watch that footy game, it was absolutely the Trindle show for massive stretches of the game. But still, Nicho gets 100 points with his 2 try assists. And, like even when he was on 1 try assist, he was still going to get a good score. He just has this knack of accumulating SuperCoach points. Just
so good at accumulating. He's a really good goal kicker as well. And so when the Sharks score points, like obviously he does well there. It's just so good, Nicho. Like and great game from the Sharks, great win down in Canberra. They love going to Canberra Stadium, don't they?
They do.
Like it's a great hunting ground for
them. It's like
them.
a club culture. They've loved it for 15 years.
Yeah. So no, I think Nicho just keeps getting it done. I don't know. I feel like if you own him, you're happy, but you also don't feel comfortable. Like it's a weird feeling, like as in you're sort of looking around who to sell him to. But he's only 15% owned, and he just keeps getting it done.
Yep. Kaelito finally did get it done. He crossed for a try. Only scored 70 points. So that comes down to he had 9 missed tackles today, KL. Not his best defensive game. I think for all the people who've been holding tight, if you had have heard, he's going to score a try today, they would think a new beauty. He comes an 80-point, 90-point score. 70 is a little disappointing.
Very disappointing. I know Dan was up and about early with that early try as a KL believer. And he was right. He called it Teague Wilton back and sort of changed the shape. And I do think that they looked a lot better on that left-hand edge, the Sharks. But yeah, I don't know what it was. Maybe it is just the 9 missed tackles, but he definitely didn't look good defensively today, Iro. And then maybe from getting dominated, just didn't get through as much work as he normally does.
I will say though, and Teague Wilton, Chibs, I want to bring up with you as well, because he also scored a nice try on that left edge, and you mentioned him there. They did get those 2 tries on the left edge with a man in the sin bin. Like, it's not like it continued to be a hot spot for them for the rest of the game, but it did look nice, and Dan commented last week that it immediately looked better with Teague there too, so there could be something in that. What do you make of Teague, Chibs? 71 points with a try, 80 minutes in only his second game back for the year. He had 51 in base plus power. Teague has flirted with SuperCoach relevancy his entire kind of NRL career. Is there any interest in you taking a flyer on him at a pretty cheap rate?
No, I'd say that he doesn't flirt with relevancy. He's a good mid-range sort of plotter. Like he does a great football player, but never going to get there from a SuperCoach point of view.
Yeah, I looked at his price and I was like, $5.23 seems cheap. And then I was like, maybe he had like a different role last year. Pretty much played 80 minutes all year. He just has these weird games where he'll get like a 20 with no base, Teague.
Yeah.
So he's an oddball. Jesse Colquhoun, 62 with a late try, another nice 50 minutes. It's just a good, well done to owners. No need to discuss it because I want to jump down to the Raiders. Chibs, you alluded to this when we spoke about Will Warbrick. Simi Sasungi, 97 points with a try assist, 63 in base plus power. Your dad, the podfather, who, by the way, this week has had a monster score of 1,400 plus points, has done it. He's done it again, the hot start. How good's Simi?
Oh, just so good. Like, just the fast starter, the podfather. What was he coming into this? Like, I know you're 31, so that everyone's sort of been a bit up and about that, but I'm pretty sure the podfather's still in the top 1,000, maybe top 500 coming into this week. He's had, as you said, a 1400 this week, and Simi Sasangi is the best pod to start the season. He may even be the best mid-ranger to start the season. There is nothing better than a second row forward centre wing duel. He was 463k. I imagine he's going up significantly.
North of 500.
Yeah, north of 500, 540k. And I still think he's a buy. He just looks unbelievable. So he's had 63 in base plus power. He had the try assist, but he also had 2 line break assists. But the thing with him is, obviously, he was going up against a very good defensive centre in Kale. He made him look silly at times.
That's where the 9 missed tackles, a lot of that came from the fact that Simi Sasangi had 10 tackle busts or something. A lot of those missed tackles were on Simi.
But it's also, he's not dominant that he just holds the ball. Sometimes he just knows and gives it early because he's got Xavier Savage outside him who's just got speed to burn. One of those line break assists was just him knowing what to do, and the other was him doing a great bump and then a flick pass. I think it's not a silly play to look at him as a centre wing or a second row forward option. And you were at the game today, and you I think you had some little inside info on how Matt Timoko looked as well.
No inside info, just he looked uninterested. He was very much a man going through the motions of New South Wales Cup. It didn't look like a guy who was doing everything he could to get back into first grade. It was my big takeaway.
Didn't you say you thought he got a bit injured as well?
He definitely went down hurt, but he played he got stretched out. They stopped the game for a couple of minutes and they looked at him. He played on, limped around, but just the whole thing, he didn't look like a guy really trying to knock down the door. And also, Tubes, Seb Chris doesn't look great. So even if Timoko does come back in eventually, I'm not sure it's at the expense of Simi Sasangi. I know Ricky was quoted as saying that Sasangi will move back into our bench and mid-rotation at some stage. If he keeps playing like that, it just won't happen.
Can Simi play Origin?
I don't know with the new rules. I don't know when he moved to Australia.
I'm going to have to look. If he could play for the Blues, he could be a bolter. Origin off the bench. He's unbelievable. I'm so impressed with him. I want to buy him. I want him in my SuperCoach team.
If you do, I think he's getting to the point where he's nearly getting away. If he's getting around that 520 to 540k mark, that's still fine for what he is as a duel. Especially if I think the Cowboys have this James Walsh duel as well, who's enough who you could just flip them around and have Simi where you need to as a little tactic. But it's getting handy. Close. I think if you're going to get Simi, it almost has to be next week or leave it. He's going to have a small break even again.
Probably next week or leave it. But I'm just making the case that if the big thing is just his role and the fact that he is so good and he could go into the second row or he could go back to the bench. If he has nailed down this centre wing spot, I'm putting up that he's a 700k centre winger.
Yeah, I like it, Choose.
That's a long chat on Simi, but I think it's worth it.
You got my gears thinking for next week. Hudson Young, 79 with a try, solid base plus power. The thing that's really just consistent with Hudson this year is obviously he's got a good role there looking to him. I thought a little bit less so today. He's just getting so many negatives from errors and missed tackles, and it's actually stopping these scores from being massive. He got a 79. You take away those negatives, he's 90 plus. Every week he's getting a lot of negatives, which is frustrating for owners. But at the same time, when he's getting 79 and getting all the base plus power he is, you can look past it. Tubes, Sav Tamale, just chucking him out there as a guy, another one who's been a really good pod, 560k, 86 with a try. He was averaging 64 already coming into this game with a base plus power of 51 for the year. So he looks great. And Ethan Sanders, Tubes, 37 points today, 10 points from goals. Actual football perspective, it was his worst game of the year. I still think he's a good player, but it was his worst game.
Easily his worst game of the year. I don't know what was going on. I liked the way he looked in the first half.
Yes.
I agree. I was even going, I think he's going to be a very good player. But he wasn't necessarily playing well, and he had a horrible second half. He contributed to some of the Hudson Young errors and other errors just because something was even off just with his passing. I hope he just doesn't get dropped because I think that he will find he'll find his groove, and I still think he'll be a relevant SuperCoach player. And I know a lot of people are rushing to get to those two-gun halfbacks, but I don't know. I sort of don't mind the idea of sticking with him for a few more weeks and waiting for that big breakout score.
It's also just such a big jump. So I think like last week was war chest week. If you didn't do it last week, you're probably now running with him for a little bit longer and hoping it comes good. I don't think he'll get dropped. That'd be Ricky's. I was going to say Ricky's not that overreactive, but I stopped myself. Ricky could be that overreactive. He might have dropped him in the sheds after the game. But no, I think Sanders will hang around. And I agree.
Jed hasn't, as long as Jed's not trained in the halves in the New South Wales Cup, he should be fine.
All right. And also, Tuesday, I just want to quickly say, Strange not doing a lot to take pressure off Sanders either. Strange has been a real letdown this year. True. And his price is dropping. So if he starts to turn his form around, he'll be a little option too. Titans versus Dragons, Tubes. Obviously, Sedu 2 dropped. Very disappointing at only 264K. We only got 60K out of him. You can look to move him onto someone when you need to. Val Holmes, Tubes, I know you brought him in this week, 77 points with a try assist. What do you make of Val's game?
Disappointing from an NRL perspective, fine from a SuperCoach perspective.
That about sums up his season.
Yeah. Like he threw the intercept pass when it should have been a try. He either could have dummied or thrown it a little bit earlier, and that would have been a big swing, but instead he I think he leveled it up at 6-all with the Titans there. Look, he'll keep getting it done. They got a nice run coming up. We just move on from a 77 and take that for this week, I think.
Jaden Sewer, I thought, was pretty rough to get put on report for a hip drop. I hope for his own he doesn't get it because he actually hit the ground first and bounced back up onto the ankle. So hopefully common sense prevails there. Dan Atkinson, Tubes, a low score, 21. We kind of saw against the Dogs in round one that when he doesn't get attacking stats, he can have a very low floor.
Yeah, a few people up on their high horse about the Atkinson versus Sanders this week, and I think they were like, you know, it's I think it's a funny debate that's going on all preseason into round one, into round two, and they're both just not going very well, like as you would expect cheap halfbacks to do. Yeah. But yeah, it's a bit of a worrying thing for Atkinson. Obviously, with the Flanagan injury, that could be big news. It'll be interesting to see even if that helps Atkinson. Obviously, LKT, is it? LKP. KT,
you're right the first time.
Yeah, KT. He looked all right last year, so it'll be interesting. But I think it is helping Sewer. That Atkinson and Sewer have definitely built up a nice combo, and he is looking for him to hit him with the ball as he runs.
Let's get on to the Titans, Shoes. There's only one place we can start. Choo-choo! The Ho Train has left the station. 116 points, 2 tries. Loved every second of it, Tubes. You don't love it as much as me?
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't play him, so he sat on my bench. We were watching him pre-pod, and I was telling you I played Faimani over him. Not through any reason other than I didn't know, and then I just didn't think about it. And I just left it, and then just another decision, just a nice 80 points that it's cost me as that final reserve. But look, he looked good. It feels like we've been waiting for this type of breakout game. But
for sure,
I didn't realise he was such a ball hog as well. Like just passed the ball to Kenny. Dummy on the fullback and then pushed the fullback to propel himself even further forwards. No, it was both long field tries, long field, like hard running second row forward tries. So yeah, well done.
Tubes, importantly, both off Jaden Campbell. Like, as in that's really nice to see they have a good combination because it was in the trials that he scored his try off Jaden Campbell and had this big breakout game that got him the one in the spot. So they've clearly got a nice little combination. So I think he's going to continue to be. Let's put to bed any doubt about him not being in the team and this Josh Paxton killing it in Q Cup and coming to take his spot. It looks like it's going to be his spot now, and he's going to be playable moving forward too. So, yeah, very nice.
Yeah, well done. Ho Train.
Jaden Campbell, just the one to watch, 80 points. He's had a much better NRL game this week. Don't think he scored that much better in SuperCoach, but from an NRL perspective, he looked better. Keanu Kinney Tubes is an interesting one. 54 points. Really disappointing first half. Kind of came to life a little bit in the second, as did the Titans. Are you going to trade him this week?
Yes. So I don't have Walsh, and I think I said I really like the Sewer, and so that was last drinks with Kinney on the Sunday night. It's Tata to the 6:15 game, and the Titans have played in I think every single one of them. And
the Sunday night ones.
And I will not be seeing any more of Keanu Kinney in the Tubes pods from this week.
Well, Tubes, let's just get straight into it then. Our big baller moves brought to you by the Ballr Team Builder tool. If you're frustrated with SuperCoach lockout and you want to get there and play around with your team, see what it looks like, get over to the Ballr Team Builder and do it before lockout ends. Tubes, I've already made a trade on the Ballr Team Builder. And my trade I'm looking at for next week is getting that man out, Keanu Kinney, and bringing in Tom Trbojevic. So that's my big move that I feel good about doing for this week. Although if the price breaks in certain ways, the BEs, depending how they go, I might be about 3K short, which would be very frustrating. But that's the move I'm looking at. The other one, Tubes, yeah, that Simi Sasangi conversation got me up and about. I'm going to have to try and find a way to get Simi in. I don't know how though, because maybe it's Critter. Maybe I do rage trade Critter.
There you go.
What are your thoughts? What are your 2 early thoughts for round 5, Tubes?
Can I just make one more case for Simi, just since we're talking about it? The handy part about the duel isn't just having someone else up there; it's then for future trades. So if you did go Critter for Simi, then the following week, if you had a gun second row forward that it was time to get rid of or go down, you can then be trading them in for a gun like a Marky Mark or someone in the centre wing ready to go on a run as well. But yeah, anyway, I'll keep pushing the Simi case with you for the rest of the week. Who am I thinking? I've got a lot of cash still in the bank that I didn't use this week. I'll be doing Sam Walkie to Cleary. I'll be doing Kinney to Walsh. I haven't done the full numbers yet. I'm close, and if I have to, I'll downgrade somewhere else. But I'll be within 50 odd K, so it won't need to be like a break the bank downgrade. I might have to nuff someone out or something like that. But so by big moves, I'll be bringing in Walsh for Kinney and Cleary for Sam Walker, which doesn't feel great because they're sort of moves that just is catching up to everyone else realistically. So I'll still be looking for a big game from the Bulldogs this weekend against the Bunnies on Friday afternoon.
Nice. Well, yeah, Tubes, I've got to say, you have really fired up tonight. You're a man pre-pod. If people could have seen you, they wouldn't have seen this big lift coming in this podcast. You've done very, very well, mate, and I think you made some excellent points. Let's hope that it turns for the Tubes pod soon. I'll be back on Tuesday with your brothers Matt and Dan for the Round 5 TLT to talk about all the big news coming there and get those boys to give their expert analysis. Tubes, we always appreciate, as we say every week, when people get in there, they follow us, they subscribe, they leave comments. We always appreciate the comments on the YouTube as well, giving us sometimes some sticks, sometimes giving us some love. All of that is appreciated. And yeah, please search for Ballr NRL and Ballr SuperCoach on all your social media platforms. Get in there and give them a follow, and head over to ballr.live to get some of the best stats and give yourself the edge against your competition. Tubes, I'll leave it to you. Do you have anything else, or do you want to just take us home?
You beauty.